Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. Happy New Year, everybody, to 2026. Hope everyone had a good holiday. And right now, the market just had one session on Friday on the 2nd. Throughout the week, we did see a couple of small distribution days here, with Nasdaq now having 7 distribution days and S&P having 4. In terms of overall accumulation distribution, we're still seeing not much action. There's not much volume right now. So without volume, we're not going to see accumulation or distribution. But it's fairly tilted slightly towards the distribution side with just very little stocks. So again, the industry group just barely even right now. Again, not many stocks in different sectors are doing well. It's more neutral again. Friday we did have some improvement in the retail health commodities area. And then in terms of growth stocks that I follow, it also improved slightly, but it was deteriorating like for 6 sessions in a row. You can see from 50% of the stocks I follow in uptrend to all the way to 7%. So a lot of stocks were pretty much below their short-term moving averages prior to the new year. After the new year, like I said, we only have 1 day of trading. It improved quite a bit, and we'll talk about that in the second half of this video, where we look at some growth stocks, right? By the way, the volume is a little bit low. I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. I might have to get a new headset. Something just went wrong for this computer. I'm not sure. But anyhow, yeah, you might have to turn it up higher. I'm trying my best here. Give you a higher volume. But looking at the index here, we see that the index, suffer a big reversal on Friday. This is not good. I've been talking about this upper trend line for a while now, and you can see how, on Friday we start the new year with a nice gap up, but it very quickly dissipates, and now all of a sudden we're back at the red line, which is the 50-day moving average. We still have this lower channel line forming as well at the bottom channel line. So at this moment, we're still within those range. So again, this pendant movement formation is creating a little bit of a resistance level and also a support level at the bottom. The question is, what will happen in the new year? Like probably by next week when most people are back to work. Especially at the institution level. So we'll see if it's gonna go down or is it gonna go up. Like that will be the key. And this is Nasdaq here. Here's S&P. We also found some resistance here. We did cross just slightly above the previous high here, just very slightly, and then we can draw a bottom channel line here as well. And you can see it's tilted towards the pendant formation is tilted towards more up the higher range here, so that is a good sign. But again, we still have this formation that's stuck within this pendant, and again, we could easily break down, or we can bounce back and break out of this zone. But I think right now is probably from the index perspective, probably a do nothing scenario, meaning if you have stocks, you can continue to hold. If you have but basically no new buys at this moment, unless you really want to take a risk here, because it's possible you might get a few days bounce and so forth, but or even just a 1 day bounce like Friday, and then who knows where it's going to go after. But until we see a better, clearer breakout trend, I think it's better to wait and see what happens in the new year. And again, earnings season is going to start very soon, so that will also determine the direction of the market. Generally, market tend to get a little bit nervous during earnings season, and also there's more geopolitical issues happening now, so that also might create uncertainties. So there's lots of factors in the new year, so it's best to see what the rhythm is and then follow that rhythm. Here's Dow, and that's interesting, right? We're seeing a little bit of a different action between S&P and Nasdaq, where they're kind of weaker on Friday, but Dow actually are very strong on Friday. It closed near the high of the range after testing the lower boundary. And also we're seeing lots of industrial stocks also showing really good health right now, bouncing as well. Again, it could be a 1 day thing. Like technically, a downtrend is hard to get broken on just one day of bounce. You know, usually you do have those 1 day bounce in a correction or a strong pullback. And so 1 day is not really enough. You know, we want to see follow through. If it fall through the next day on Monday, on strong volume, it could be a better sign. Here's the Russell index. You know, it did bounce, but we're still below the short-term moving averages, as you can see here. And then you can also see the upper channel line forming, like, which is still very steep here. You know, but we did find support in the red line here for Russell. So again, Russell had a nice bounce on Friday. Again, is this a 1 day bounce? You know, it's hard to say. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, you know, I usually think if Nasdaq and S&P don't do well, it's hard for even Dow and Russell try to break out on its own. So usually, you know, you want to see like all 4 indexes are in sync. Now it doesn't always happen that way, but generally they do, or they don't diverge too far apart, right? Like, you know, they might be 1 day off, 2 days off. You know, like right now, you know, Russell and Dow bouncing back strongly, but Nasdaq and SP doesn't do that. But usually, like I say, within 1-2 sessions, they usually will go back in sync again. And so we've been seeing lots of that lately, how they, you know, those 2 groups index are kind of out of sync a little bit, but like I say, in general, they do come together and move one direction together. All right, so those are the index. Again, not much happening. New Year's coming, earnings coming, lots of geopolitical things happening right now. So again, I would assume lots of volatility will kick up. Let's take a look at the volatility. It's really low right now. It has, you know, somewhat kind of show a bottoming sign at the bottom here. It went really low recently. So you know, we do cross back about 21 day, we could have bigger issues. We'll see. But yeah, we did hit a pretty low recently. 10-year yield is still hovering near 4.18%. UUP is slowly moving up, but not that much. The US dollar. And then US oil, yeah, we'll see what happens with this Venezuela news over the Friday night and stuff. We'll see what happens with you know, any changes in the oil market. And then obviously we're also seeing, you know, things happening in Iran as well. So yeah, lots of geopolitical stuff happening. Might impact the oil market. We'll see. Gold is not making much of a headway, unfortunately. You can see it just has no power whatsoever. So that is a concern for gold stocks. Silver is also showing similar action, just can't really bounce back as well. That's not a good sign. Copper, you know, it tried to bounce a little bit on Friday, but not much. Bitcoin, it did bounce quite a bit on Friday, but it didn't close at the top of the range, so we'll see what happened. But at least it seems to have found a bottom channel line here, so maybe it can eventually move back up. But right now it's just moving really slow. So WenX Semiconductor is your big winner on Friday. Huge move. It actually make new high from this index here, ETF. And a lot of chip stocks bounced pretty hard on that day, on Friday as well. So that was a little bit interesting, because IGV, which is the software group, actually did the opposite. You can see it went down very hard. So it's again a very interesting market right now. We're seeing diverging trends happening in the index. We're seeing this SMH versus chip versus software is getting also diverging. So yeah, it's just very interesting. So we'll go through the chips first. Let's look at Nvidia. Again, you know, it tried to come out, but it reversed again. It just can't really get out of this range for some reason. We did have AMD bouncing, so that looks pretty good. We also have TSM breaking out on a very strong you know, action here, very high volume. I'm not sure if there was news, but that was a really big move. Then we have Broadcom here, tried to come out, but look at where it closed. This is quite disappointing. So now we have this new trend line again. It's still very steep at 45-degree angle despite bouncing recently. But again, the reversal is very ugly here. Even though it's still closed a little bit on the positive, but I just don't like this action. Moving on to the software group, we have Palantir. Look at this, getting really hit really hard, just like the whole software group. Microsoft also getting hit hard. This is not a good sign. We are getting very close to a new low again. That is a very ugly reversal. Google was bouncing in the morning on Friday, but then it gave up all its gains, a lot of its gains, up only 0.6% by the end of the day. So again, not a very good sign. Amazon also reversed and huge bar. Again, not a very good action for a lot of this, big mega cap software, especially more focused on software side. Meta also hitting close to recent low here. Here we have Apple again, also reversing really hard. This is also not a good sign here. Tesla has really gave up after a recent run here. Look at this. It's now, clearly under the 10-day. It found resistance like on Friday here at the 10 days again. Now we crossed below the red line. So this is looking actually, we went from really good looking chart to now looking really bad because we just undercut the 50-day and we found reverse from the 10-day. So all these are very bad signs technically. And then we have Netflix just continued to tumble. It just couldn't pass the 10-day green line here, and we hit new low on Friday. So this is the second half of the video. If you enjoyed so far, please like and subscribe and give me a boost here. Thank you for watching. On the second half here, we're going to talk about the growth stocks list that I track. This has been tracked since October 10, 2025, basically near the earnings season start. As I mentioned earlier, the earnings season is about to start, so I'll be tracking all the new earnings and only earnings that are forward guidance of like at least 10% for the next 4 quarters are usually make onto this list. So I have a very tough criteria, and we have about roughly just slightly over 400 stocks, I believe. So it's very hard to get onto this screen. This is the symbol. Here's the performance since October 10. So you can see some of them really outpace others here at the top ranking here. We have uptrend versus downtrend, and also within 1% of the short-term moving average column here. And then we have the highest date, whether they actually make a new high, recent high in this time frame here. So some of this, like MU making new high here. Then we have industry group and sector here that kind of gives you a better sense of where it belongs, what's moving together and so forth. So at the top here we have PAX. This has been a very strong, healthy stock. We also see GPCR here, another biotech, SNTX, biotech, ATech here, medical products. Some of this AVDL is in downtrend right now. And then we also have INDV ESPR site in downtrend right now. Here's the PAX chart here. Very strong action since the last earnings report. And again, we will be seeing earnings report in the end of February. Here's the recent pullback, and this was probably the last good entry point. Then we went up and hit a new high, and then we start to pull back just a very tiny, so that was another entry point. So the green marks is where I entered more positions, and then the pink mark is where I had to sell some just to, in case something like like a pullback here turns into bigger loss drops here. Again, here we have another sell here, and then didn't buy back on Friday, unfortunately. Could have bought into it more. This is a nice bounce. Sometimes I miss those entry points, but that was a good bounce here off the 10-day. Really supportive and making a new high. So it's an outside range, but upside reversal. So that's a very good move. Like I said, I should probably add some position here, but I just didn't have the chance to on Friday. But this is a good looking chart, number 1 on my list right now. GPCR is the other biotech here that also doing well. This is structured therapy, chronic diseases and stuff. So this one had a huge move right here. I can't remember the news. Then it pulled back, and look at the pullbacks. It come close to the 10-day, but never really touches it. Now Friday we did have a touch on that line, so that was a little bit of a negative. But I think let me just look at the intraday chart here. It might have bounced back. Not the strongest bounce, but at least it did come back. So maybe that shake out some people. But again, we want to see if the follow through happen next day here. So that'll be a good sign of it follow through. Here I filtered by commodities. SGML is an uptrend still, but a lot of the gold stock, silver stock are now in downtrend because the last week has been kind of just dropping and went below the 10-day moving average. You can see a lot of downtrend stocks are in the gold area and silver area. We're still seeing a few that are kind of bucking the trend still. So like HGML, HCC, ARO here, and YPF in the oil and gas. Here's HGML. It's not an easy stock to trade. It does have lots of volatility. Even recently here, you can see there's lots of volatility, but it did bounce again on Friday. So we'll see if that will work again. We have coal here. This one also bouncing. So looking pretty nice and stable here. Just a slightly pullback right there. And then we saw the bounce on Friday. Here's the mining, Euro, copper, another copper. This is copper group. Copper here, also bouncing here. Here we have the technology group. Rank number 3 is Lumentum. We have again very strong bounce on some of these tech stocks here, like Lumentum. We have CN, the same group. SNDK, MU, those are data storage. WDC, those are all data storage, also bouncing. We have Tower Semiconductor, TER, Teradyne, Form Factor here. So those are chip stocks. Again, we're seeing lots of stocks here bouncing by MXL, SITM, AEIS here, ALAB, Reddit, LSCC, TSM. We talk about that. Marvel, Zeta. So some of these Rambus, a lot of this chip area bouncing as well. We also have a Chinese top Billy here. So yeah, very strong momentum. Let's see how they're doing. Here's momentum on the chart again. This one has been a little bit more not the easiest to trade, but because it has those big pullbacks. But if you but you can see the pattern here. We have a recent pullback again, and then we have a big bounce on Friday. So we'll see if that will continue to fall through and make new high. CN, this one also bounced back on just one day of move, and look at that, now we're at new high again. So that looks really good. In the data storage group, we have SanDisk bouncing really strong here. We are getting really close to the new high as well. It was a really big move on Friday, 15%. MU also in the same group. We have a huge bounce here. Look at this 10-day moving average, never really touch it. Moving up in very strong slope as well. WDC bouncing here, very nice tight action recently, again making new highs just from one day of move. Next we look at some semiconductor area. This one is a nice small bounce, not as strong as I would like to see, but it's still nonetheless a bounce there from the short-term moving average. Next we have Teradyne. This one also making new high after a very tight trading here, minor pullback there. We have Form Factor also coming, getting set up right now to possibly break out, so we'll wait for that follow through. Looks really good. Rank number 6 is BBIR. This is the financial area. Most financial area has gone into correct downtrend mode recently. I guess most sectors did, but we're seeing some small movement coming back. BCS, Barclay, UBS. We have Citigroup, AMG, and SAN, NWG, and then you see some of this TPG, RKT, CFG, WFC, HSBC. So again, a lot of the bigger banks are doing well. Then yeah, so we'll see if those continue to bounce back. But let's take a look at a couple of this. In the big banks money center area, we see a nice new high right here from Barclay after pulling back closer to its 10-day line. UBS also bouncing very strong here, didn't touch the 10-day green line here, and then it bounced. So we'll see if that's set up for a new high soon. Here's Spain bank here, Santander, again also very similar chart to Barclay, bounce and make new high. So here's the industrial group. Rank number 7 is Cohere, CenX here, ATI, those are making new highs. KEX, FTAI making new high, FTAI, FNX, MTR. So a lot of stocks are bouncing in this group, I say on Friday. You can see all these stocks here. Feel free to check them out. You know, just very powerful move on Friday. So hopefully this will continue. Like a lot of stocks are now back in uptrend. You can see here in the top half here. So a lot of yellow here in uptrend. So hopefully this will continue. But again, one day of move doesn't mean much. We'll see if this can come back. So let's look at Cohere. Here's a nice bounce here. Very nice tight pullback, and we are setting up to very close to making new high here. This is Century Aluminum, continue to make new high. Again, look at this 10-day slope, never really touch it, very strong slope. This is ATI in the aerospace defense. This one also making new high. Look at how it just took one day to make new high after recent pullback. Very tight pullback there. Uh, we also have FTAI here in the aerospace defense. This group has been really strong performer this year, 2025, and now it's starting 2026 with another bang. Again, aerospace defense. Again, maybe geopolitical news play a part in this. I'm not sure, but this group is really strong right now. ESLT is another aerospace defense here. This also make new high on Friday. Very nice. Look at the 10-day slope. Just very nice movement here along that slope. Never touches the green line, which is the 10-day moving average. So yeah, feel free to look at a lot of this, especially a lot of the bull ones are the ones that have been bouncing from Friday, and then again this column tells you whether it make new recent high here. So lots of good movement on the industrial side. Final group here is the retail area. Most of them are in downtrend still, unfortunately. But we did also see some movement on Friday from the bounce. We see ACBA, H-Side, Dollar Tree, W, Wayfair, Restoration Highway doing well. Goodyear Tire, Stop Message. Those are also bouncing. Burlington making new high. H Hotel here. So yeah, there's some good movement. Again, not too many, just some. GLW, HLT, yeah, so it might be worth like edge side here, good move this week. Here's a new high, again coming from a really tight pullback, trading near the 10-day there. ACB area, this is starting to also stay above the short-term moving average. This is sneaking its neck out, so perhaps this will work. This is less than $10 range, so may have some volatility. Here's Wayfair breaking out of this nice trend line there. Very nice formation. It did close near the top of the range, so it looks pretty good. And then Restoration Hardware, jumped really strong on Friday, up almost 8%. It's just now sitting near the black line, which is 200-day, but the slope of the uptrend is now forming really nicely. So we clear this 200-day, we might have a nice more run here. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys had a good start to your new year. Enjoy this video. Please drop a like and subscribe. Again, I wish everybody a great, successful, happy new year.